We have a unique perspective on health. First of all, we believe that health should be pleasurable. It shouldn't be a handful of nasty supplements chased by a nasty green drink, choking it down. That's not health. That is toxicity. That's suicide. That's not what health was designed to be. There are times I go to lunches with strangers, and there's that moment, in our meeting where they pull out the baggie and they feel their hand full of supplements, and they look at me square in the eye and they just go, and they choke it down thinking that I'm impressed. I'm not impressed. Health is the small things we do day after day after day that equate to wellness or eventually equate to disease. The sad part about today is this: the 80s and the 90s, they killed us. And here's why. They preached inferiorism, that you're not good enough, the food ain't good enough, the dirt ain't good enough, and so forth, unless you take our miracle pill. They had us believing that we can chase a Big Mac with a multivitamin and be okay. That's why we're the sickest generation. That's why we're the heaviest generation. That's why we're the first generation projected to outlive our children. And our children, they think they're healthy. That's when it says 10% fruit juice on their candy. This is the problem we're up against right now. So here's the deal. We did some looking back. We looked thousands of years back and we said, what did the indigenous cultures think about health? What was health to them? Because now it's all about pop-ups, it's all about billboards, it's all about infomercials. We get so many variations of health that we don't know what it is anymore. This is why we're sick. It's time we turn things around. And so these indigenous cultures, really intriguing stuff. I just call this folk wisdom, but it makes perfect sense to me. They had foods, and they looked at them like a spiritual way, that foods had a message for the body, that the look of the food, the color of the food, the smell of the food, that there were messages for the body. They called it signature foods. Sign, nature, signature. So for example, they would cut a carrot, and they would look at the inside of the carrot, and I did this for you, and it looked like an eye, and without even thinking about it, they believed that carrots were an offering to the body for the eyes. Well, guess what? Berkeley won a Nobel Prize when they studied the carrot and said that carrots were great for the eyes, okay? Or how about the walnut? We couldn't find a walnut that was uncracked, so I got the picture for you. If you take a walnut and you crack it open, a walnut is an, hang on, let me show you. No, I'm just kidding. A walnut is an exact replica of your brain. And walnuts too are loaded with the essential fatty acids that are brain food. One of my favorites is a tomato. Look at this, you guys. That is a tomato next to a heart. Is that not crazy? It's just so fun that we see the resemblance or these signs of nature in these signature foods. The avocado is kind of a funny one, because the avocado is one swollen seed that takes none other than 40 weeks to be ripened, much like carrying a baby. In Utah, just so you don't know, we don't need any more avocados. We got plenty of babies rolling around here. But you know what the problem is, folks? The problem is this. We're not eating whole foods anymore. We're not eating raw foods anymore. We're eating foodless foods and lifeless drinks, things that mimic nature. Apple Jacks, Crunch Berries, Fruit Loops. And this is why we're so sick. You know what signature foods we live on today? We live on buns and rolls. And that's true though. And this is why we're the heaviest generation ever. So here's what I want to talk about. Here's what makes Pulse so special. Is that nowadays, and I'm not a big Hollywood guy, but if you don't eat at a raw food restaurant, when you go to Hollywood, you're not cool anymore. And raw food doesn't mean chewing on a carrot or nothing like that. They're recipes. They're designed to go in the body and do miracles. And so on these bags, you will see right there what's called the Raw Food Promise. Okay? Now what is the Raw Food Promise? The Raw Food Promise is this. First of all, the body will restore itself. It's called restoration biology. The body will perform miracles by the minute when we learn how to honor and edify the intelligence of this body. And the way we honor and edify the intelligence of this body is give it the proper raw materials. Versativa specializes in the best raw materials since the history of mankind. So here's the deal. When we eat dead, cooked, processed foods, and I'm not being fanatical because I'm not a fanatic, but I want you to know these things. Dead, processed, cooked foods, it works the body to exhaustion, to disease, and eventually death. But when we put raw foods in the body recognizes them. And all of a sudden, exactly the opposite happens. The food goes in the body and does the work. This is why raw foods, let food be your medicine, and let medicine be your food, has never rung more true than in today's world. And we have the best product because Pulse is a mathematical formula. It's called sacred geometry. An entry-level idea is called the zone diet. That's an entry-level idea. 40% protein, 30% fat, 30% carbs. Okay, doesn't matter what protein, what fat, or what carbs, do it. Okay, novel concept, but it's elementary. Pulse is the zone diet on steroids. It's all your fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, tubers, legumes, all of them in a mathematical sequence so that Pulse is signature foods from head to toe, inside and out, and it's raw. We use sprouting technology. We do all the greatest things. We have blueberry, raspberry, cherry. We even have little pulse bars that we call business bars because everybody's going to want to taste it. These are your new calling cards. So it's a spectacular product. I'm going to open one right in front of you. Sorry, I'm stepping off camera here to open these for you. I'm going to open these for you. But this is blueberry. Now, blueberry is probably the least tart of the three. However, it's the most expensive because blueberries right now are premium. But I'm going to eat some blueberry right in front of you. Signature Foods, raw, sprouting technologies, head to toe, inside and out. Now, I'm not suggesting that you become this 100% raw food person. No, no, no. I'm not a fanatic. I watch the games. I eat the pizzas with the rest of you. But try 20%, 30%, 40%. Try 60% raw foods and watch what happens to your demeanor. Watch what happens to your physical stature. Watch what happens to your health overall. People always ask me, Ron, what does health really mean to you? And here's what it means to me. Everywhere I go, I see people who have dreams. Dreams of love, dreams of family, dreams of intimacy, spirituality, money. It's all good. It's all part of our overall health. But here's the problem. We can't step over our health to create and sustain our dreams. Health is a habit. It's not an event. It's the small things we do every day that equate to wellness or disease. And most importantly, it should be pleasure. Welcome to Versativa, folks. Welcome home.